The dogs require not only daily feeding and standard care, but also ongoing medical evaluations. Some of them were originally impounded emaciated and in very poor health. Now the community of Pahrump is rallying around efforts to save the dogs.
We're looking for licensed veterinarians and licensed veterinary technicians that are licensed in the state of Nevada, as well as experienced veterinary assistants.
These are pictures provided to News 3 by the ASPCA, volunteers involved in a massive rescue effort in Pahrump after more than 300 dogs were confiscated during a criminal investigation last month. It's estimated an additional 20 medical personnel are now needed to help.
Really, we didn't anticipate 300 dogs.
Tasha Crabtree manages the Nye County shelter where the dogs are being held in temporary kennels.
The dogs are doing okay. A lot of our enclosures are outdoors, and so it's very hot. We're working on cooling options right now, discussing misters. Some of the dogs are getting hand misted and trying to keep their water buckets cold.
The dogs were seized from 2 locations in Amargosa Valley and Pahrump. Oskana Higgins and Vasily Platonov charged with animal cruelty and abuse. On Wednesday, a woman claiming to be the dog's original owner was asked to leave shelter property after confronting staff by the kennels.
I'm definitely not a vet, but they looked horrible.
Nye County Captain David Barokowitz with an update on the case.
The investigation on the criminal side is obviously still ongoing. We're conducting interviews. We have a lot of people that have reached out to us that have had prior interactions with both of them. And so, this is a huge case that has a lot of turns and twists that have come along,
including the discovery last week of dozens of dead dogs connected to the case buried in the desert and stored in a freezer. It's a story that's generated enormous interest in the Pahrump community.
It's breaking our hearts.
John and Carla Clausen stopping by the shelter with stacks of pizza for ASPCA volunteers. A thank you for caring for the dogs.
It's just a very sad situation, but it's nice to see that people come together and volunteer their time and their effort to make things better. So it just, it gives you faith in humanity.
For now, it's unknown if or when the dogs will be available for adoption. Licensed veterinarians are asked to email the Nye County Sheriff's Office,
sheriff@co.nye.nv.us,
if they're able to volunteer their time.
Right to our breaking news. It was a stunner as it unfolded. The man you see on the left-hand side of your screen in the white, under arrest now for the murder of veteran journalist Jeff Gearman on the right-hand side of your screen, and he is scheduled to be in court tomorrow. That's Robert Tellis. He is the county public administrator, which deals with wills, probate, things like that. Police served search warrants at the house at his home today, which is in the Piccoli Ranch area near Charleston, Wallapai. And then later, in the afternoon, we saw officers and the SWAT team move in, surround his house for hours this afternoon. Good evening, everyone. I am Jim Snyder. Maria is off tonight, and we've got just a lot to cover with the breaking developments in this case. News 3's Kate Munch is live with the twists and turns it's been taken since early this morning.
Yeah, a lot of twists and turns and a heavy police presence right outside of Robert Tellis's home that did not allow us to be this close earlier. However, that has calmed since Tellis was rolled out of his home on a stretcher and loaded into an ambulance by police.
Just a day after police asked for the public's help identifying a potential murder suspect in connection to the death of 69-year-old Jeff Gearman, officers combed through the home of Clark County Public Administrator Robert Tellis. Neighbors watching police take evidence in and out of the home for hours say they were horrified to hear the news.
Crazy. It's just crazy. This is a really nice community, so to have this is unbelievable.
Tellis was the subject of a recent investigation of the Review-Journal employee surrounding allegations of workplace misconduct. Tellis lost his re-election campaign shortly after the stories were published. He called Gearman's claims manufactured, and on his website, Rob for NV wrote, "Jeff Gearman may not be done trying to drag me through the mud."
Jeff made his share of enemies too. He drilled down into politics, into organized crime, inside the police department.
Officers released Tellis after seizing his clothes, sending him back in this white jumpsuit. And hours later, officers swarmed his home, taking him into custody again, this time charging him in the murder of Jeff Gearman.
Had been there working hard in the community for a long time, that he was gone and perhaps gone for doing his job. And so there's, that's a strange feeling.
Booked in the Clark County Detention Center on open murder charges.
Now, Tellis is expected to be in court tomorrow at 1:30. News 3 will be there to bring you continuing coverage.
The governor is speaking with dozens of small business owners today, holding a Q&A, answering all their questions regarding issues important to them. And the governor then speaking with me, as you mentioned, one-on-one.
What do we do? I mean, if I close this strip down and small businesses down, we're going to put hundreds of thousands of people out of work. And that's what we had to do.
That's Governor Sisolak recounting his decision to shut down businesses in 2020. Speaking to dozens of small business owners on Wednesday, many of whom were impacted by that decision and still support him.
We are happy to support him because he is also an advocate for the medical industry and education.
An intimate meet and greet where the governor answered every question from those in attendance, from taxes and homelessness to inflation and drought.
And the fact that he has just answered every single question so eloquently, he listened to all of us, he stayed for even longer than he was supposed to, I think has made a huge impact of how much he does care.
Recently, the Vegas Chamber, considered the voice of business, endorsed Sisolak for re-election, showing that he still has business community support despite that shutdown.
We opened them as quickly as we could. The community is resilient. I know they support small businesses. You see that here today.
Part of the chamber endorsement and Sisolak's speech focused on education. Always a big criticism with Nevada ranking near the bottom in the U.S.
Teachers do a great job. They work hard. They're in the classrooms with the kids on a daily basis. We just need to come up with a way to better facilitate the distribution of the resources and to give every kid equal opportunities.
And with less than 9 weeks until Election Day, Sisolak trying to set himself apart from Joe Lombardo.
Differences between my opponent and I are massive. It comes down to that. I mean, we've got a plan for education. His plan is basically copying what our plan has been. I'm a big believer in women's reproductive rights, that women should have a right to choose. He disagrees with that. He wants to ban abortion.
Now, there were several other issues addressed and questions I asked the governor. I'll have more details on that on our website, news3lv.com. And since Governor Sisolak's campaign offered me a one-on-one interview, I also reached out to Sheriff Joe Lombardo's team to see if we could do the same. And I've not yet received a response.
Hi, everybody. I'm Reed Cowan from News 3 Las Vegas. We want to thank you for checking out our YouTube channel. Remember, you can always see more of our videos by clicking on the video links. And also don't forget to click that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on any of our YouTube updates. Thanks for watching.